See a new team crowned champion, the 8th different NBA champ in the last 8 years. But the wait's been so much longer for these 4 fan bases. Sure, the Pacers and the Wolves, they made the conference finals last season, but neither franchise has ever won a title. And then there's the Thunder, the record books. They may say they won a championship in 1978 as the Sonics, but that banner, along with many of those fans, they never actually made the move from Seattle. And then there is the Knicks. 25 years of demons. Looked like they were being exercised throughout the New York streets outside of Madison Square Garden after getting back to the conference finals. Just imagine what would happen if they could end their 52-year title drought with a big stage. You know, we had to bring in our big man, Big Perk here. Perk, I'm curious what you see here when you're looking at the best player that's left here of these last 4 teams. Who is that?
Oh, he's 6'2" and thick. And he go by the name of Big Body Brunson. That's who I'm thinking of, Malika. Right? Second in the postseason and 6th in the postseason in scoring. Second overall points in the postseason. And he's the most clutch player in the postseason, leading all players with clutch points. Here's the thing about Big Body Brunson. Not only will he get it done at home in Madison Square Garden when it comes down to the fourth quarter, but damn it, he takes it on the road as well. And if I had to say anybody is the best player right now remaining in the postseason, it's Big Body Brunson, Mr. Jalen Brunson himself.
And you know he's going to want to get that shot back at the Indiana Pacers here after he got hurt in that Game 7 of their series last season. So this is a little bit of revenge on his mind. Kendrick Perkins, thank you so very much. Well, Perk, his answer is Big Body Brunson being the best player still standing. There are plenty of other questions that remain. I'm sure my sis Shanae Agumake has lots as well. But if you had to pick just one, Shanae, what is the biggest remaining in this postseason?
Of the final 4 teams remaining in contention, their success may not be predicated by their number 1 option. It actually might come down to who is the best number 2. And we've seen some pretty solid performances, starting with the T-Wolves, Julius Randle, who averaged 25 points per game in the last series, bringing his best version of basketball. Don't sleep on Pascal Siakam, who's actually leading the Pacers in scoring this postseason. Karl Anthony Towns has to play huge. There's a number of guys, if you think about it from top to bottom, you know, you need these types of guys like J-Dub to perform. He responded from 6 points in Game 6 to 24 in Game 7. We saw that explosion of 17 points in the second quarter. The number 2s might actually dictate who finishes number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. What other who steps up? That could change everything here in this season. It could elevate one team to the mountaintop. And I don't know about you, sis, but for many people, this is shaping up to be the Thunder's to lose here. Because take a look at this. When you look at the path, the Thunder, they entered as the favorites. But the next 5 teams on the board, they all got bounced in the first 2 rounds. So now Oklahoma City remains in the top seed, followed by the Knicks, the Wolves, and the Pacers. Let's bring in Brian Windhorst into this conversation here because, Brian, there's been so many storylines when you look at these playoffs. What's the one you're going to be following the most now with Oklahoma City still sitting on top in terms of odds?
I think all 4 of them could win it. I know that the Thunder have been the favorites for a while, and I think their fastball is the best fastball, but they have proven vulnerable at times. And if you go and take a look at the Wolves and the Pacers, you could argue that those have been the best teams in the league for the last 2 months. If you look at how strong they finished and how well they've handled their business in the first 2 rounds, certainly they have shown the profile of a champion. And the New York Knicks, the level that they played to eliminate the Celtics in Game 6 at Madison Square Garden, if that's indeed who they are, if that's their ceiling, there's 8 wins left for them to get. That is the type of explosion that we have seen in the past when we see teams play their best basketball at this time of the year. We saw it a year ago with the Dallas Mavericks. They reached their top level at this point in the season. Maybe that's what the Knicks are doing. I got all 4 of these teams with a real shot to take home this title.
It feels like we are seeing now the NBA that Adam Silver envisioned when he said, all right, let's make sure that we flatten, we put a second apron in place, and we make sure that everyone has an equal shot. And what I love is these 4 stars, one of them is going to win their first ring. But before we go any further, we got to put a cap on the weekend here, Brian. After all, we had the best words in sports. We had a Game 7 yesterday. So let's get to it. The biggest storyline going into this game was the health of Aaron Gordon. Our Shams reported that he had a grade 2 hamstring strain, and yet he still gave it a go. And the Denver Nuggets gave it their best punch out the gate. Here's David Adelman on AG.
Aaron Gordon is incredible. What he played with today, I don't know many people that would even attempt to go out there and run up and down. And he did it in a Game 7 against Oklahoma City on the road. That was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
Gordon had 8 points, 11 rebounds in the game. But the other incredible part of this one was the Thunder defense, Perk. You were watching this matchup on Jokic.
You damn right I was. And Alex Caruso championship experience kicked in. He was the MVP of that game. His tenacity, his force set the tone. And all of a sudden, we saw that Thunder defense that we've been watching all season long turn up in great fashion, especially when it came down to the deflections, the activity, the physicality. That's what they do. They were the #1 defensive team in the league for a reason.
They scored 37 points off turnovers. It's the most by a team in a Game 7 since 1998. That brings us to our play of the game, brought to you by Dave & Buster's. The Thunder coming out in transition here. Kaysen Wallace finishes with the left-handed jam over Jokic. Big play there, and the Thunder bench loving it. In the fourth, finishing touches here for Oklahoma City. SGA gets inside. Nice little finish there. SGA, he finished with 35 points. The Thunder stormed their way into the Western Finals. Here's SGA.
We can win no matter the environment, no matter the type of game. It could be ugly, it could be pretty, it could be high scoring, it could be low scoring. It could be a lot of free throws, it could be no free throws. Like, no matter what it is, we can find a way to win. And I think that's very important this time of year. We play a really good team in the Timberwolves, and we got to try to beat them 4 times before they beat us 4 times. And that's all I'm worried about, all our team is worried about. Like Dub just said, just trying to be where our feet are in the moment and see what's in front of us and try to attack it and come out on the right end of it. I think that's why we've gotten this far in the season, and we're going to continue to do so.
So, Brian, I thought Bob Myers put this really well before this game. He said the Thunder have a chance to show us they are who we think they are. They did just that in Game 7. Did they prove they are ready now for what is around the corner in the West Finals?
They said a lot with their Game 5 and Game 7 victories, because in both situations were the spot where they faltered last year. And look, this was a historically relevant moment for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not just for this season, okay? He is going to likely win the MVP in the next few days. Had he won that award and lost this game to Jokic and the Nuggets, no matter what anybody would have said, no matter what I would have tried to argue talking common sense, people would have always slapped an asterisk on that. So knowing all of that, he came out and delivered a brilliant performance. 12 of 19, gave his team everything they needed. He would have been really taken down had he lost this game. So we owe it to him to appreciate and appraise how he delivered in this moment. And when he gets that MVP trophy, everybody will know that he won it on the court and in the ballot box.
And absolutely. But I think that SGA even would say he wants to win MVP. But winning a championship, that would mean even so much more than that. On the other side of this, Brian, it was a gutsy effort from Denver across the board. I know we showed Aaron Gordon in the highlight, but it bears repeating. The sound when he said after the game what he was proudest of is playing without his brother, who he had lost, and being able to put on this type of effort. He was sensational this postseason. But after the game, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, they were asked if they think that they can win with this group again. Take a listen to what they had to say.
What is your confidence that this core group can still win another title?
100%. Just came up short tonight. I'll get back in the gym and get back to it for next year.
Do you feel like this team could still win a championship as it's put together now?
I mean, we didn't, so obviously we can't. If we could, we will win it. So I don't believe in those if stuff. So we had the opportunity, we didn't win it. So I think we can't. But from now, like next couple of days, there's gonna be a lot of beer probably.
Hey, nothing wrong with tossing a couple back. We're all totally fine with that. But Jokic said that because this group didn't win a title this year, they can't. So what needs to change here, Perk?
A lot. I'm going to say.
Perk, it looks like you're freezing a little bit. So I'm just going to hand this over to Shanae for a second while we work on your connection here. Perk says a lot needs to change, Shanae. Do you agree with him?
I do agree, but I do think you can win on the fringes. You already have 2 tremendous pieces in Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, who have some of the best 2-man action in the NBA. And I love what Aaron Gordon brought to the table, all that he's fought through. But when I think about this squad, what was exposed was their lack of a secondary playmaker. Jokic with, Caruso on him, that was completely the biggest adjustment that neutralized and, made their offense completely stagnant. If you had another ball handler out there that could initiate offense, I could say Jokic, instead of starting on the top of the key, go inside the paint, where if they're going to guard you with a Caruso, all you have to do is turn around and finish with a layup. I think that playmaking ability was an underrated aspect, where he was a machine for so many matchups and games and triple doubles. If they had someone else that could alleviate the pressure, my man on the stand, he still looked stressed and the game was over. That's why he said he needed a beer. Like, he needs someone to take the pressure off. He wore so much, especially with the coaching change, and I commend Jokic for fighting through all of that adversity.
And health was certainly a factor in all of this, Shanae, but at the same time, it still looked like David Adelman, they trusted 5, maybe 6 guys at any point, depending this postseason. There's a reason why there was a head coaching change, a general manager change, Brian. What's the next change that you foresee Denver making?
Malika, when it was over, they only trusted 3 guys because Gordon and Michael Porter were injured. And yesterday they tried to win it with Christian Brown, Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic. And so I would say you don't need to change this roster. You need to add to it. And the hardest part is getting the MVP level player and his best number 2 option, which they have. They have Jokic and they have Murray, who have proven to be tremendous. They've developed Christian Brown, but they just don't have enough to fill out the rest of their roster. Now, can they do that? Can they add to this roster without removing one of those players? Is there a way to do it? They've done it before. Before they went out and they found Bruce Brown. They found Jeff Green. They went out and were able to add those players in the offseason 2 years ago. Is that a move that's there for them? Or do they have to look at trading one of their core pieces, such as Michael Porter Jr.? That's what this next 2 or 3 months is going to be about in Denver.
I think the question that the Denver Nuggets brass is going to be asking themselves is, we have Nikola Jokic on our roster. If we have had him on our roster for 10, 15 years and we end up with 1 championship with the best player in the world, is that enough?
They did in
it's
game
not?
5, they
okay.
didn't do in game
How
6.
do we make it
but
so
in the
that
end,
that
the victory is a
outcome changes?
victory.
And that's what
And the
Denver's
Knicks
going to have
grit
to
and the
contend
Knicks
with this summer.
love.
All right, it's underway. Caitlin Clark and the Fever open their season hosting Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. We're going to pick this one up in the first here, just under 2 minutes in. Clark dribbles up the court, hits the 3. This is what the Fever crowd was here to see, a deep 3 there from Caitlin Clark. And then the closing seconds of the half, again, dribbles left and hits that 3. The Fever up 15 at the break here. Going ahead to the third quarter, Indiana up by 10 here. Look at this, Clark. Just a terrific no-look, or backdoor pass rather, to Natasha Howard for the layup. I got one more time. Right in the needle there. Clark to Natasha Howard. And then a few minutes later, this one is the play that everybody is talking about. All right, Angel Reese gets the offensive board here, but watch Clark. Foul to keep the 2 points off the board, she said afterward. Reese immediately gets back up, and then Clark's holding her hands up. Just take one more look at the play. Clark would be assessed a flagrant on the play, and then Angel Reese would get a Aaliyah Boston also gets a technical foul on this play. A little bit perplexed by it maybe, but there's still more game to be played, and that's what's important. After the dust settled, finishing the job, step back 3. By the way, she had a triple-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, the Fever roll. Here's Clark at the game on that back and forth with Angel Reese.
We watch a lot of basketball. It's a take foul to put them at the free throw line or rather give up 2 points. I've watched a lot of basketball in my life. That's exactly what it was. I wasn't trying to do anything malicious. That's not the type of player I am. So, yes, it wasn't anything like that. And I went for the ball, and that's clear as day in the replay. You watch it. It shouldn't have been upgraded, but again, that's up to the ref's discretion.
Angel, can you take us through the flagrant foul from your perspective? Just what you saw in that play, how you interpreted what happened.
Basketball play, refs got it right. Go on.
Okay, after the game, the WNBA did release a statement on a hateful fan comment that was directed at Angel Reese, and it said that the WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in society. We are aware of the allegations, and we are looking into the matter. All right, there's no one whose perspective I would like more on this than our Shanae Agumake. Shanae, what was your reaction to the play in question? Because it feels like that's what everyone is talking about today, rather than the awesome play that we saw over the weekend.
First of all, I appreciate the WNBA for having that statement, creating a task force and standing on their standards. But when it comes to that exact play, in the words of Perk, keep a cool booty. It was a basketball play that got supercharged because of the players involved. And if you see the sequence, Angel Reese pushes Natasha Howard in the back. Caitlin was flabbergasted and obviously reacted with a no free buckets type of foul that had some extra sauce on it, and that's why she was assessed and that was upgraded. And obviously, whenever these types of situations happen, I'm not gonna lie, this happened to me multiple times, almost every game, getting pushed in the back. You know, I'd get up, I'd turn around, and I'd be willing to fight. I'm like, what in the world? No, that is not cool. That's what Angel did. That emotional reaction could have escalated the situation, which is why she was upgraded in that situation. So I look at this and I saw a circumstance in the New York Liberty Las Vegas Aces game between Jonquil Jones and Chelsea Gray. I went to Mohegan. I saw a similar situation that happened between Marina Mabrey, Shakira Austin, and Diaby, like that were all like just tussling. This is the WNBA. It is physical, and you heard it from Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. If they are unbothered about this play, that situation, then we should be too. Yeah. It's just hoops.
If the players are unbothered, we should be unbothered. I love what you said about that earlier. And what I know is if someone pushed down Shanae Ogwumike, she was absolutely coming with a side of extra sauce. What do you say we get to some of the basketball that we saw this weekend? Because Shanae, the Fever, they looked pretty unstoppable here. Let's take a listen together to what Clark had to say about this team's chemistry.
I think we're still finding our chemistry together. It doesn't feel perfect out there yet. I think we're still continuing to grow when we don't have things in transition. How can we flow a little bit better? How can we set our teammates up for success in the half court? But I mean, we just have so many weapons, and that's what's so fun. It's like you swing it to the other side, okay? Like you got DB, you got Kels. On the other side, you got Tosh, you got AB. Like there's just so many options for us to go to, and I think just continuing to learn how to put our teammates in positions to be successful is what's really going to make us a great team.
The Fever, they have high expectations this year. Shanae, what do you see as their ceiling, and what are the steps to be able to get there?
We're still finding our chemistry. Sis, that was the biggest win that the Indiana Fever have ever had, a 35-point win. They made history. She made history with a triple-double, 20, 10, and 10. And DeWanna Bonner, speaking of those weapons, also made history with her 7 points, moving up to number 3 all-time in the WNBA following Diana Taurasi and Tina Charles. Look, this is a team that is still trying to put the pieces together. It's new. It's only been one game, but still, they have shown that they are lethal. They have all-stars. They have championship experience. They have reigning rookies of the year. They've got it all. They just have to do the work. But I love what I have seen so far from the Fever.
And they went out there and they got the veterans that they needed to in order to be able to truly make the steps to be contenders. And we didn't even see Sophie Cunningham in that game against the Chicago Sky. So there's still more that we could see here from the Fever. It's time to take it coast to coast now, Shanae, because we got a lot more WF action to get to. The Liberty, they raised their first ever championship banner on Saturday. Then they had a statement win, overcoming 31 points from the reigning MVP A'ja Wilson to beat the Aces 92-78. Did the Liberty look every part of the favorites to repeat, Shanae?
Oh, 100,000%. Natasha Cloud is the new X Factor. We already knew the Liberty were one of the best offensive teams, the best passing team. Now they added a defensive dog who in their debut, it was nearly flawless. 22 points, I believe like 9 assists, 6 or so rebounds. It could not have gone more perfectly, not only for Cloud, but also a chance to repeat.
How about Paige Beckers? Wasted no time, Shanae, getting on the board in her WNBA debut, scoring the Wings' first points of the season. But it was Nafisa Collier who stole the show, dropping 34 in the Lynx win. Shanae, is this just the start of the revenge tour for Fee? Are you smelling maybe an MVP?
Look, I absolutely am. I think right now it's Nafisa Collier that are a lot of favorites, and also Caitlin Clark. If you think about it, A'ja Wilson as well. But Fee, every year she adds to her game and her bag. She's one of the most unguardable players in the W.
We're going to hear from Nafisa. She's going to
Homes.com.
How nervous are you? I'm excited. The Knicks fans are ready. Yeah, there's a little bit of nervous excitement, as all Knicks fans have, but I'm confident.
Underdog, favorite in my heart. Let's go.
Brunson, back to Anunoby. Great give and go.
You ready to stop? Push it up the floor. One.
Blocked by McBride.
Hart. Arriba, levanta la bola, saca la falta, acción de 2 and 1.
For the first time in 2.5 decades, the New York Knicks are going to a conference final.
Just soaking up this moment, and I can't wait for the next round. So many years. Indiana, we coming. Go, New York, go, New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go!
I don't know why, but the pure joy of Timothée Chalamet, it definitely does not get old to see. It's the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, and it's lived up to the hype this postseason. Shanae and Brian, you were in the building for that clinching Game 6. Perk and I wished we were there because there's nothing like that environment. There's nothing like that atmosphere, Shanae. Do you think, though, it's like a true advantage? Do you think that it changes things for the opponents coming in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My voice is just now starting to recover, and I'm not a New Yorker. I was saying that I finally understand why you go to the airport and you see the T-shirts, I love New York. It's for moments like that. It's definitely going to be one of those situations where were you when the Knicks won in 6 in 2025 to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals? The energy was palpable. The basketball IQ of this fan base is through the roof, and they embody this squad, the city, the grit, the grind, the hustle. They're all really relatable. This is a place where dreams are made, and we're seeing it happen in real time. Jalen Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year. Kat, I felt like the Knicks were going to win with how they started being intentional, with Kat being aggressive. Josh Hart, Mr. Bleeding, his face, it doesn't matter. Had a triple-double. Mikal Bridges making plays. This city is built different, and so is this squad, and I've never experienced anything like being in the Garden for that moment. Yes, it's truly special.
Yeah, there was a remarkable alignment there, Malika, because it was a moment where the crowd has never been more involved in the game, and the Knicks had never played better. That was far and away their best performance of the year when the crowd wanted it and was giving the most. So those are special moments that you remember. But it is important to point out they have lost 3 times at home this year, and the Pacers came in and beat the Cavs on the road in Game 1 last round. So none of that carries over. The energy maybe from the crowd, but they don't get to take those points over. And I'm sure Tom Thibodeau is making that clear to them heading into
they can
Wednesday.
get 48 hours.
Shanae, Brian, Jalen Brunson actually kind of agrees with Brian. He spoke earlier on the MSG crowd. Take a listen.
I think it was very important and great for the fans to have our backs and celebrate the way they did. But for us, we know there's a long way to go. And so we don't really look at it as an accomplishment. It's just the next step. We're grateful, we're thankful, but we know there's a long way to go.
See, that kind of sounds like what Brian was saying, but both home courts, they're going to be a factor in this Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go in the bonus. This will be a rematch of the conference semis last year when the Pacers walked into Madison Square Garden and won Game 7. The Knicks will be looking to avenge that heartbreak from that game this time around, but both teams, they're a little different than last year. The Knicks have Karl-Anthony Towns. The Pacers have a healthy Benedict Mathurin. The Knicks won 2 of the 3 meetings this season, and Kat averaged 30 points a game in the matchup. Also, Mikal Bridges as well. And it's a series that'll be nostalgic. These two teams, they haven't played each other in the conference finals since 2000. But flash to now, our resident detective Big Perk, I hear he spies 2 players that need to step up if they want to get to the finals.
I'm Kendrick Perkins, better known as Big Perk, and nothing gets past me. Freeze! Just when you thought it did get past me, there I am. I spy a problem. I spy it all. Carry the hell on.
I'm looking forward to this series, and I know everybody is watching to see, is it going to be Tyrese Halliburton? Is it going to be Big Body Brunson? But I'm looking at the 2 bigs. That's what I'm looking at. That's what these 2 eyes are watching in this series. And I'm talking about Karl-Anthony Towns versus Miles Turner, damn it. We're talking about 2 of the most elite bigs in the game. When you look at Karl-Anthony Towns, when he's locked in and focused, one could argue, outside of Jokic, he's the most skilled big in the game. Miles Turner has been the unsung hero this entire postseason for the Pacers. That feathery touch around the basket, being able to stretch the floor and knock down shots. He's leading the entire postseason in blocks. This is mano a mano right here. Those 2 are going to be guarding one another. It's going to be interesting to see how Karl-Anthony Towns come into this playoff series, and is he going to impose his will on Miles Turner in that low paint area?
both really good shooting bigs to keep an eye on. Now to the team that the Knicks knocked out after Game 6. Sources told ESPN that reigning Finals MVP Jaylen Brown finished the season with a partially torn right meniscus. Now, Brown had been playing in pain during the last month of the regular season and the playoffs. Here was President of Basketball Operations Brad Stevens on what lies ahead.
The reality is like I said, we have a lot of good players. We're in a unique situation. They're all under contract. And obviously, as you pointed out, there are, several basketball penalties that will come with that amount of salary. And so we just have to weigh it all and make those decisions. And again, I'll have more clarity after we meet and talk and go through it.
Well, Brad Stevens sounds like he knows the reality of the new CBA. Look at this. The Celtics head into next season with a bill of $466 million when you account for salaries and luxury tax payments as well. Boston has the highest payroll next season, and they're $22 million over the second apron. So, Brian, what do you expect them to do, especially given that Jason Tatum could be out for the majority, if not the entire season next year?
Well, that bill doesn't include Al Horford. So, I don't know if you can negotiate him back for less salary, but he certainly had a very good year. If you re-signed him for the same exact number, it's over $500 million. And that's where we've been getting that number. He did have some good news in that Jaylen Brown's, meniscus injury. He kind of implied that they're going to just watch it and give it rest. He didn't imply that he might need surgery. So that was a good sign there, because if that needs to happen, then you have a whole nother situation. The reality is this. They have a new ownership. The new ownership has not taken over yet. They have not completed the sale. Therefore, they cannot show us their plans or communicate their plans. So, no matter what happens, Brad Stevens, to a certain extent, is in a holding pattern. And until we find out what those new owners want to do and what their appetite is for spending, we're all just speculating and making projections. I do think that there is some sense that the Celtics could reduce their payroll a little bit and sort of take a half step back, let Jason Tatum heal, and then ramp back up, a so-called gap year. But that is something that is complicated, and we're not going to know for a while.
Yeah, we saw the Warriors pretty perfectly execute that gap year. You can debate the pick and all of that sort of thing, but they were able to get back to winning another championship after they had to spend time without Steph Curry, without Klay Thompson. Can the Celtics replicate that here? That's a question that they're going to have to ask themselves in the offseason. Brian, thank you so very much. But they had a KG. 2004 was the first time the Timberwolves made the conference finals, and they're back this season for just the third time ever. And check out Anthony Edwards, just 35 points away from passing KG as the franchise leader in playoff scoring, and he's just 23 years old. The West Finals, it starts tomorrow on ESPN, and he spoke at yesterday's practice.
And what do you like most about playing for Finch?
The freedom he gives us. As long as you play defense, he'll let you do anything offensively. So yeah, pretty much.
Does he actually say it in those words?
Nah, but I know what he be thinking. Like, as long as we guard at a high level, because that's what we hang our hats on, the defensive end. So as long as we get stops, it don't really matter what shots we get, because we know we're gonna get stops down there. So we'll be all right.
All right, Perk. Ant says that defense is going to carry this team. What do you think is going to be the factor that decides the Western Finals? I know they haven't started, but let's make some predictions here.
Look, defense is a small. No, Mr. Edwards. We got SGA, right? We'll talk.
Shanae, he says it's going to not just be a small part. Yes, please.
I'm going to pick up where Perk left off.
As always.
Because I think we're on the same time. We're brother and sister here. Like, if you think about it, yes, defense is important, but you are also on the other end going up against the best defense in the NBA. You need to put the ball in the basket, and Ant will need help. Over the course of the season, we've seen him grow on the fly, dealing with double teams, triple teams. He will need a certified second option who has merged to be Julius Randle. Celebrate what Julius Randle has done as of late for the T-Wolves. He's not only been a scorer, he's also been a facilitator. And this is the first time in a playoff series we've seen two T-Wolves in Julius and Ant average 25 in a series. So they're coming in confident offensively. They'll have to be able to knock down some shots along Ant with playing defense as well.
And remember, we didn't get to see Julius Randle in that Knicks series against the Pacers last year. So he wants to be out there and show what he has in the playoffs, because this is the best we've ever seen him play in the postseason. You're picking up where Perk left off. I'm picking up after Perk, because I actually have some shoes I have to bring with us to Oklahoma City that he left here at the studio at Shanae. But I will say, the one point that I mean, it's Perk.
Them boats.
The one point that I wanted to make on this. I think it's equally for the Timberwolves, the self-inflicted wounds here. You cannot have 20 turnovers against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ask the Denver Nuggets. They will make you pay. But before we move on, Shanae, there's a matchup we have to feature in this series. This is my favorite subplot of the series. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they're cousins. Check this photo out. They're extremely close. They have been their entire lives. This is just precious. Look at these adorable babies. But now, fast forward, this is what Shai said about facing off against his cousin in the West Finals.
Yeah, it'll be very fun. It's like, it's hard to even explain. Like, if you know how close we are, he's literally like my second brother. He's been through every stage of life with me. And picking up a basketball to going to prep school to making the NBA, like we've gone through every situation together. For both of us to be.
What's your favorite team? Comment below, and if you like the video, please leave a like. This really helps the channel grow and brings you even more content. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive all notifications. With each game, we notice that the NBA is getting more competitive every day, and all the teams are looking for reinforcements to win the championship. And only here can you follow your favorite team daily with incredible content from different sources. Here on the channel, there are new videos every day with analysis, curiosities, and the best moments in basketball. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for following along. The NBA doesn't stop, and neither do we. Until the next video. NBA, the passion that connects us.